In the 16 years since Anna Nicole Smith's death, the model had become a symbol of the mistreatment of women in the media. Sexualized, body-shamed, and bullied by the press, Smith's life was filled with moments that, if they occurred to a young female celebrity today, would be a scandal. During a 2002 episode of The Howard Stern Show, Stern tried to pressure Smith to weigh herself live on air, calling her a heavy-set woman.
The way you dress and stuff, I don't think you're aware that you're a heavy-set woman.
I know I'm a big woman, so what?
Can you please get on the scale, and then we'll have an over-under, that's all.
No.
Smith is clearly uncomfortable with the invasive request. She also points out the absurdity of the request, saying the only reason he wants her on the scale is to humiliate her.
Does that make you feel so much better about yourself?
Please let me weigh you. I'll give you $3,000 bucks for your son.
You're feeling so good right now.
No, I'm not. I don't feel good until I get you weighed.
He tries to persuade her to weigh herself live on air by promising her money, an Xbox for her son, and eventually tells her he will flash her his penis.
I'll show you my penis if
And nobody
ever sees
that.
I'll take 2 on the penis.
We're talking backstage. The thing about that having sex on a plane.
In 2017, Graham Norton kept asking Cara Delevingne inappropriate questions while her dad was in the audience. Graham brought up a time when she was having sex on a plane, something they had been talking about backstage. And even though Cara was visibly uncomfortable, clearing her throat, scratching her neck, and stammering, he wouldn't let up.
You were having sex on a plane and someone was watching you.
The pilot.
No. I don't even know how to start this story.
She even straight up said she was embarrassed, but Graham continued pushing. Seeing just how uncomfortable Cara was, her co-stars tried to shift focus by declaring they were the ones on the plane with her.
It was both of us. It was the time we were both there.
New York City is exciting, though, isn't it?
I was born here, yeah.
Yeah, good for you. How'd you like being in jail?
Paris Hilton appeared on the talk show in 2007 and was supposed to be promoting her new perfume. Instead, Letterman mercilessly asked Hilton question after question about her time in jail, spending nearly 7 minutes, bringing up her stint in jail and not the items Hilton had specifically come onto the show to talk about, even after Hilton repeatedly asked him to move on from the topic.
Have your friends treated you differently since you've been out of the slammer?
But I've moved on with my life, so I don't really want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, but I know.
Though Hilton handled the whole ordeal gracefully, watching the clip years later paints a whole new picture about how unforgiving and harmful the entertainment media was to famous women not so long ago.
I love you, Paris! Love you too.
Yeah. Somebody you met in prison?
I'm saying that there are people that were the people that did this to both me and Corey.
Are you saying that they're pedophiles?
Yes.
And that they're still in this business?
Yes.
On a 2013 episode of The View, Corey Feldman spoke out about the alleged abuse he and his late friend experienced as child actors. As he tried to warn parents to be cautious about putting their children into acting, co-host Barbara Walters interrupted him to defend Hollywood.
You're damaging an entire industry.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to.
If you look at Corey's face, you can totally see his pain. It's deep. The man is crying desperately for help, and Walters is worried about the industry? She's totally without any moral value or judgment. While Sandra Bullock was promoting her movie The Proposal on the Today Show, Matt Lauer couldn't stop talking about her nude scene. Matt literally started the interview by telling Sandra how excited he was that she appeared nude in that film. He repeated it multiple times and even joked it was his screensaver.
The major thing that's changed since you were here last?
Yes.
I have now seen you naked. It's now my screensaver.
Sandra held her composure and made jokes until he moved on. But his last question brought her nakedness right back into the conversation.
It is a lot of fun. Did I mention you have a nude scene in this movie?
Pretty much from the time you opened your mouth. Yeah.
Then, when the interview was over, Sandra joked that she was never coming back. She was completely deadpan when she said it, so I'd like to think she wasn't actually joking.
Sandra Bullock, come back more often.
No, not after this interview.
It's not uncommon in general for celebrities to get questioned about their diet and training regime. Similarly, it was not the first time when Johansson had been questioned about her diet. but this time the question sounded even more ridiculous when a reporter asked Robert Downey Jr. a profound question about acting, but then asked Scarlett Johansson about her diet while they promoted the Avengers.
Scarlett, to get into the shape of Black Widow, did you have anything special to do in terms of the diet?
It was evident by Johansson's face that she was not quite happy with the question.
Like, how come you get, like, the really interesting, like, existential question and I get the, like, rabbit food question?
In 1995, Jay Leno spoke with Judith Light of Who's the Boss fame. Things started off awkwardly, and to be honest, we can't see an interview like this being allowed to take place today. The host immediately brought up a prior interview in which they discussed a film where Light appeared nude.
Talking about that movie you did, The Women in Prison. It had the shower scenes, and I watched it. I freeze-framed it. It was fascinating.
You did?
It was fascinating, yeah.
Well, you know, I'm not naked in every movie that I do.
He then seemed to constantly be looking to raise the topic of her on-screen nudity.
Well, how does a director convince an actress to be naked in a TV movie?
Because it's what the part required.
This somehow led to Light showing Leno how cable TV nude shoots work, as he got way too close to her. He then held her hands behind her back and unbuttoned her shirt. She asked to go to commercial, clearly crying out for help, with fellow guest David Spade even showing obvious discomfort.
Can you cut to commercial now?
No.
Like soon?
No, how about the skirt, too?
No, we don't do the skirt.
While promoting Jennifer's Body on ET in Canada, Megan Fox had to sit through ridiculous misogynistic comments and questions. After the interviewers said that every man alive was in love with her, Megan tried to laugh it off with a joke. But the guy kept going, insisting that every conversation she had with the man must end with that man flirting with her.
I don't know if there's a man alive who's not in love with you in some way.
You're a silly man.
No, I'm not silly at all.
You're a silly man in a checkered shirt.
I honestly feel so bad for her to have to deal with this kind of situation. It must feel so uncomfortable to answer those questions.
You have to go into every situation when you have a conversation with a man you've never met that is going to end at some point with him flirting with you.
No, absolutely not.
Early on in her career, Parton was subject to much criticism based on her appearance. However, she has never let any of this get her down. In a 1977 interview with Barbara Walters, when asked why she dressed as she did and wore so much makeup, Parton responded that she chose to be that way and simply does not enjoy being like everyone else.
You don't have to look like this. You're very beautiful. You don't have to wear the blonde wigs. You don't have to wear the extreme clothes, right?
No, it's certainly a choice. I don't like to be like everybody else. Show business is a money-making joke, and I've just always liked telling jokes.
Walters then asked her if she felt that she was a joke ridiculed by people. Parton basically responded that the joke's on them, as she's completely secure in herself and can afford to mess around with makeup and clothes. The way she answers rude questions always stands out to me. Respectful, humble, and makes the interviewer look like an asshat.
Dolly, where I come from, would I have called you a hillbilly?
If you had of, it would have been something very natural, but I would have probably kicked your shins or something.
Margaret Qualley was a guest on Kimmel in 2019. She was supposed to be promoting her role in Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but the host was much more interested in discussing the details of Qualley's feet and body hair.
You have armpit hair. Is that your real armpit hair, or is it like little wigs there in the inside?
For her role, Qualley had to forgo shaving her armpits, and Kimmel asked a series of increasingly inappropriate questions regarding her body hair, querying whether she had to shampoo it and asking for details about her post-filming waxing experience.
Do you shampoo that and condition, or is it, or are you just a bar of soap? So you walk into the waxing place and you're like, hey, check this out.